Hello and welcome back to the channel Life of Bonsai. Today I'm going to be doing somewhat of a major styling on this willow leaf ficus. This willow leaf ficus, I've had it for a little bit now. I used one of the cuttings for my previous video, which I did somewhat of a dragon statue bonsai. So the cutting came from this one. Anyways, so this one is a cutting of another tree from a friend, and when he gifted this to me, for what it says here, it was taken on 2018 till now, so it's already about 5 years or so. But we're gonna get started with somewhat of a major styling on this. Let's get started. So here we are, and now the reason why I'm gonna be able to get away with a little bit of styling and some major pruning is because where I keep this tree is about 75 degrees to 78 sometimes, so it's pretty humid in there. So it's doing really good, and it just grows like crazy. And I'm going to take this off, and we are going to start off with removing branches that we don't really need. In this situation, I have branches coming out of the same side. Yeah, like 3 branches on one side, and then so on and so forth. So what I'm looking for here, like this right here, hopefully you're able to see, there is 3 branches coming out of the same spot. So for these, I want to get rid of the ones that I don't need. So in this situation, I'm going to get rid of this one right here, again because there's 3 branches coming out of the same spot. And I don't really need all of those branches. So that's what I'm doing now. But those are gone. And now I'm left with just one lead right here on this branch. Now these 2 branches right here are right on the same spot. You can see that right there and right here. So I think this one needs to go. Now back here, these 2 are also on the same side. So one right here and right next to each other. So I think from what I'm seeing, if I'm looking at the front, this one is more useful. Even though this one is thicker, this one is more useful to me for my design. So I'm going to get rid of this one, and this thing is going to be bald pretty much. Now back here, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches coming out of the same spot. So I don't need those. We're going to take this little one off. Get a little closer to the tree so you can see what I'm talking about. So here you see all of them coming out of the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't really need that, so I'm going to get rid of this, and I think this one as well. Let's get rid of that one. Get rid of this one as well. And now I'm left with just one single branch coming over. Now it has the same issues pretty much all over the tree. You pay attention to this right about here. There's also 3 branches coming out on the same spot. So I want to get rid of those because it looks like this ones are taking over. So like this one right here is becoming way too long, so it's taking over all that energy, and I want this to thicken up. This one is thicker, so I want to get rid of this one. Or maybe actually there's a little bit of movement on this, so I could actually cause some we'll get back to that one. Now right here, same situation. Oh, this one is too straight. I'm going to get rid of that one. And let's see. I think I can get better movement here. So get rid of those 2 as well. There is one growing back here. So it looks like it is almost on the same position. This little sucker right here, this little one, get rid of it. Now it looks kind of weird now. Not as full, but it's okay. Now let me see. Now back here, I have the same issue as well. I have two coming out of the exact same spot. So I think for this one, it's best to get rid of this right here, right there. Now I do have this extra piece right there, so I'm going to get rid of that. So we have those branches here, and I might need to get rid of this one as well. We'll see. Now back to this one. So I think this just runs too straight that way. On this one, I might be able to apply a little bit more. Let me see. Sometimes you gotta take those decisions and think about the future of the tree. We have this. Now in the meantime, I'm going to remove this extra right there. And right here. Just because it's just sticking out, so that seems to be dead already, so there's no need for that on the tree. Now let's see what else we can take off. Now I'm still gonna wire this branches a little bit, so we're still gonna have a little bit of a design on this thing. So let's see what else. Don't really think I need this at the moment. Well, maybe this has got some branches. Yeah, I'll keep this little one right here, which is great. I'm going to completely remove this. I still haven't made my decision of which one I want to go with. Might even be too long, honestly. I think the best way to go is maybe reduce this down, get rid of this, and hopefully I get some back budding back here, because this branch is already pretty long enough. Maybe I can get it a little more tapered down up here and then chop it down once I get more growth on this side. Now this one is too tall as well, so I'm going to chop it down. And again, this is a major pruning, but it's going to be okay. Now I'm going to grab some wire and I'm going to create a little bit of movement on those branches. Trying to see. And I have a bunch of cuttings here as well, so I'm going to try to root this and get more babies out of that. Okay, so here is our bald our bald guy, and I believe this is the best way to go back here. That might be a little too long. This one could work as a background thing a little bit, so I'm going to use some wire. I want to create some movement on these branches. So this right here, bring this all the way up here. Yeah, so this one has a really good potential, really good structure. I just gotta work with the movement of the secondary branches, create something that looks more natural. So I decided to do this because they were just getting out of control. They were just getting too much growth and shooting all over the place. So we don't really want that. Want to take care of the things when they're young still, and that's going to be easier for me to work this tree and develop. Here we go. This wire might be a little too thick for this branch, but that's okay. Still going to work. Okay, so we got one branch right there. And this one I could kind of create some nice movement. A little bit, creating some good movement on the branches. I'm going to drop this one down and up a little bit. I think that looks pretty okay. And now to wire this one's back here. I think this is too long for my taste, honestly. I think I'm going to trim it down a little bit, right there. Wait up this extra thing. And there is one growing right on the node. I want to get rid of that before it becomes too thick of a branch. Same thing with this one's right here. This one is closer. Get rid of that. That's some pretty good movement right there. And I might need this to be good enough. I'm gonna try with this thinner one and see how it goes. This really works as some practice as well, wiring. It gets better the more you wire trees and the more you start working on development and structure, things like that, the better you get, the more comfortable you get as well. I always like to work on little trees like this just to get some practice. When it comes to working on the bigger ones, it makes it so much easier. You got more knowledge and more practice as well. So I like this smaller material with this thinner branches, which is way easier to wire. Because when you have a tree that is, still it's able to be bent and things like that, but the branches are thicker and it's a little more difficult to work. If you don't have that practice, then sometimes it makes it more difficult. This branch, create some nice movement. Trying to get a little bit of movement right there. This one I can drop it down a little bit. Movement down. So this is going to be my background. Gonna help a lot. I have that wire down. I think I can still drop this one even lower. And now I have to wire this one. I still got one more to wire. These ones are a little bit thicker. Something like this would do. This one I'm going to anchor to here. One thing when wiring, I like to anchor the wire first, and that makes it so much easier. So like go around the trunk before actually going around the branch that you want to start working on, because then it starts moving and it makes it difficult to wire down the tree. I like to anchor it really nicely before I start wiring the branch that I want to create the movement on. And in this situation, the wire is going to cross a little bit, but that is okay. Should be no issues with that. Wiring. Got one all the way. And got the next one here. So I think I need to go around time. Now when is summertime, or maybe even around springtime, I'm going to repot this tree into a slightly bigger pot and work on the Nevari a little bit just to start developing a nice Nevari. Willow leaf ficus on their own, they start developing a nice base on their own. This one hasn't really shown too much of that, so I want to put it into a slightly larger, nothing too big, just slightly larger, just to make sure that I start creating a nice Nevari. And yep, the tree has good structure already, but I just want it to be a little bit bigger. So that is the goal. This one will drop down upwards, creating some nice branching. And this one I'm dropping it down slightly and upwards, creating that nice movement right there. So I think that is acceptable. I want to bring it upwards. And okay, so I think that looks pretty okay right there. Once it starts filling up, it's going to allow to get more light to enter the tree itself. So that is going to allow the tree to start back budding, because it was just so heavy on top. Has a lot of growth on here, so it was shading all of this area right here, not allowing any other growth. But once I get more branching closer to the main trunk, that is going to look a lot nicer. It's going to look more compacted, and I'll be able to bring it down lower. I have these longer ones, but I don't want to taper down too much right now. And then I'm just going to wire this one. Okay, so I got my last branch to wire. Again, this is not going to be a mind-blowing styling where it's going to totally transform the tree into a show-ready tree. Of course not. But this is just the initial styling, just creating some movement. And again, the main thing for me was to start working and removing those extra branches that were just taking so much energy from the tree and not allowing it to actually get some good branches that I do need for my design. So I had a lot of branches that were just crossing each other and just growing on the same side. So I don't really need all of that on my design. So that is the reason why I decided to start working on this. And since I'm already having the tree pruned, might as well do some wiring, initial wiring, and start working on creating some movement on these branches. So now bringing it down a little bit, getting some movement, and I think it should be good for now. So now this looks like a little weird. Again, it's not a show tree styling. I'm sorry, a show ready styling, but it's just the initial styling to start working on building some nice character to the tree and getting some ramification. So this is what we have so far, and this is all that we removed from the tree. So I have a few cuttings to get from this, and yeah, I mean, so far that is pretty much what I'll be doing to this tree. That's all I need to do. Just I'm going to remove this extra wire before I forget. Go extra wire over here, bit of that, and that is about it. Put a little tag back again. I need to start doing this to my trees, just tagging them whenever I got them or when I grow the cuttings, so I can know. Because once you start building a lot more bonsai trees, it's hard to keep up with everything that you have done and reportings and things like those. So it's really good to keep track of those. But anyways, this is the final. And here is the little ball guy. So again, this is not by any means a show styling. This is just for me to build that primary branching, or if you would call it secondary branching. So the goal for this is to start moving branches away from the main trunk to allow more light to hit these areas right here, and this is going to allow the tree to back bud, and it's going to give me a lot more options to make the tree more compact. So that is the goal for this. It was, again, it was the video that you saw is just too overgrown at the top, so that would just shading the whole area at the bottom of the tree. But now I'll be able to start developing somewhat of a nice triangular shape. If I get some branching down here, that will be great, and I can replace those upper branches with those. But for now, that is the main styling. First styling for this little willow leaf ficus, and this is the kid doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, it means a lot. Share, and you guys have an awesome day.